Good morning, I'm Ajay Verma from KV2 PATHANKOT. In my previous video, I had given you a preview of the 7th fiction of FLAMINGO book, The Interview by Christopher Sylvester. Today, in the second one, we'll be discussing some word meanings and question answers of this lesson. So the lesson is it begins on page 68 of FLAMINGO. So some new words and expressions from page 68 are like these. Despise means hate or dislike. Unwarranted means not justified. Intrusion means intervention. And primitive means olden. Now a few expressions from page 69 are like this. Lionized means give a lot of public attention and approval. Persistent means continuous. Petitioners means persons who ask for something. Condemnatory means expressing strong disapproval. Wrecked means destroyed. Vile means extremely unpleasant. Perpetrated means committed or performed. Serviceable means usable. Vivid means producing clear images in mind. Contemporaries means persons or things living or existing at the same time. Now some expressions page 70 are unprecedented means never done or known before. Formidable means inspiring fear or respect through being impressively large. Medieval means relating to Middle Ages. Aesthetics means branch of philosophy that deals with nature and appreciation of beauty. Staggeringly means to an astonishing or shocking degree. Ethical means relating to moral principles. Now a few expressions on page 71 and 72. Dissertation means a long essay on a particular subject, especially one written for a university degree or diploma. Hypothesis means theory, and seminal means influential. Now I found these words a bit difficult and new ones, so I wanted to discuss them with you. Now let us discuss some question answers of this lesson. Before that, I would like to tell you that this excerpt, the text that we have read in this book, is actually an excerpt from the author's Penguin Book of Interviews. Now this is an extract taken out of it. Now a few questions. The first one, how does Umberto Eco find the time to write so much? So as I said in my previous video, Professor Umberto Eco was actually quite a very busy person, an academician, so he doesn't get much time. So how does he write? And he has written so much. So he writes he says he writes in empty spaces that all of us actually have, but it all depends on us, the way we use them. Like he's given an example. A person wants to meet him and he's on his way. So Professor Eco would be utilizing that time period, the time which the person would be taking to reach his home, in fact ringing his bell. So during this point of time, he would be writing an essay. So this is the way in which he used to find time and write essays, but he wrote essays only, and whatever he wrote only on Sundays. So if he knows, so this is I've discussed. Second question, what is the reason for the huge success of the novel The Name of the Rose? So actually Professor Eco is of the opinion that this is a hard-read novel which is differentiating it from others. Actually it's a detective narrative that contains metaphysics, theology, and medieval history. It targeted audience that is not interested in an essay reading experience. So he feels, however, its success is a mystery. So he says that had it been written about, say, 10 years earlier or later from that point of time when he had written it, it would not have been read and attracted the same proportion of readers as it has actually done. So the next question, what are some of the positive views on interviews? So it's an inherent part of journalism. Now journalism all depends on interviews only. It is a useful means of communication and serves as a source of truth. We get to know our contemporaries through their interviews. The next question, why do most celebrity writers despise being interviewed? Now this actually has been talked about for most of the part in the first part of this lesson. Almost all the writers, the big and popular people of the world have given their opinions in the negative side about interviews. They don't find interviews fair enough. So they feel that interviews unduly interfere in their private lives and regard themselves as victims of interviews. It diminishes them, leaves them wounded, and feel that the interview is a crime and an immoral act. So this is the opinion of most of the people. What do we understand by thumbprints on his windpipe? I repeat. What do we understand by thumbprints on his windpipe? So it actually means having been strangulated, as if someone is catching hold of the neck tightly. So it's actually an assault on a person, as it makes him or her so tense that he feels as good as being choked. So the last question, why was Umberto Eco's friend Roland Mathers frustrated? So Mr. Roland felt that he was actually frustrated because he was an essayist and not a novelist. He wanted to be a novelist, but actually he was an essayist. And throughout his life he had been thinking and finding time and deciding, in fact, that he would want to become a novelist, but unfortunately he couldn't get time and he died. So this was the frustration experienced by Mr. Roland. So children, these were a few questions I felt as important ones. When you will be reading this lesson on your own, you'll come to know that it's not a very difficult one. It just leaving aside a few new word meanings and expressions. Otherwise, it's a fairly well understandable theme. And you will come to know that big personalities of the world have, most of the time, they've tried to get rid of interviews. This is actually a surprising thing. So, this was the lesson. Thank you.